Diz o profeta: Vi subir da terra outra besta, e tinha 2 chifres semelhantes aos de um cordeiro. Apocalipse 13, 11. Tanto a aparência desta besta como a maneira por que surgiu indicam que a nação por ela representada é dessemelhante das que são mostradas sob os símbolos precedentes. Os grandes reinos que têm governado o mundo foram apresentados ao profeta Daniel como feras rapinantes que surgiam quando os 4 ventos do céu combatiam no mar grande. Daniel capítulo 7, verso 2. Em Apocalipse capítulo 17, no verso 15, um anjo explicou que águas representam povos e multidões e nações e línguas. Ventos são símbolos de contendas. Os 4 ventos do céu a combaterem no mar grande representam as terríveis cenas de conquista e revolução pelas quais os reinos têm atingido o poder. Mas a besta de cornos semelhantes aos do cordeiro foi vista a subir da terra. Em vez de subverter outras potências para estabelecer-se, a nação assim representada deve surgir em território anteriormente desocupado, crescendo gradual e pacificamente. Não poderia, pois, surgir entre as nacionalidades populosas e agitadas do velho mundo, esse mar turbulento de povos e multidões e nações e línguas. Deve ser procurada no Ocidente. Que nação do Novo Mundo se achava em 1798 ascendendo ao poder, apresentando indícios de força e grandeza e atraindo a atenção do mundo? A aplicação do símbolo não admite dúvidas. Uma nação, e apenas uma, satisfaz as especificações desta profecia. Esta aponta insofismavelmente para os Estados Unidos da América do Norte. Reiteradas vezes, ao descreverem a origem e o crescimento desta nação, oradores e escritores têm emitido inconscientemente o mesmo pensamento e quase que empregado as mesmas palavras do escritor sagrado. A besta foi vista a subir da terra. E segundo os tradutores, a palavra aqui traduzida subir significa literalmente crescer ou brotar como uma planta. E, como vimos, a nação deveria surgir em território previamente desocupado. Escritor preeminente descrevendo a origem dos Estados Unidos fala do mistério de sua procedência do nada. Diz: semelhando à semente silenciosa, desenvolvemo-nos em império. Um jornal europeu, em 1850, referiu-se aos Estados Unidos como um império maravilhoso que estava emergindo e no silêncio da terra aumentando diariamente seu poder e orgulho. Eduardo Everett, em discurso sobre os peregrinos fundadores desta nação, disse: procuraram um local afastado, inofensivo por sua obscuridade e seguro pela distância, onde a pequenina igreja de Leiden pudesse gozar de liberdade de consciência? Eis as imensas regiões sobre as quais, em conquista pacífica, implantaram os estandartes da cruz. E tinha 2 chifres semelhantes aos de um cordeiro. Os cornos semelhantes aos do cordeiro indicam juventude, inocência e brandura, o que apropriadamente representa o caráter dos Estados Unidos quando apresentados ao profeta como estando a subir, em 1798. Entre os exilados cristãos que primeiro fugiram para a América e buscaram asilo contra a opressão real e a intolerância dos sacerdotes, muitos havia que se decidiram a estabelecer um governo sobre o amplo fundamento da liberdade civil e religiosa. Suas ideias tiveram guarida na Declaração da Independência, que estabeleceu a grande verdade de que todos os homens são criados iguais e dotados de inalienável direito à vida, liberdade e procura de felicidade. E a Constituição garante ao povo o direito de governar-se a si próprio, estipulando que os representantes eleitos pelo voto do povo façam e administrem as leis. Foi também conhecida a liberdade de fé religiosa, sendo permitido a todo homem adorar a Deus segundo os ditames de sua consciência. Republicanismo e protestantismo tornaram-se os princípios fundamentais da nação. Estes princípios são o segredo de seu poder e prosperidade. Os oprimidos e conculcados de toda a cristandade têm se volvido para esta terra com interesse e esperança. Milhões têm aportado às suas praias e os Estados Unidos alcançaram lugar entre as mais poderosas nações da terra. Mas a besta de cornos semelhantes aos do cordeiro falava como o dragão, e exerce todo o poder da primeira besta na sua presença, e faz que a terra e os que nela habitam adorem a primeira besta, cuja chaga mortal foi curada, e dizendo aos que habitam na terra que fizessem uma imagem à besta que recebera a ferida da espada e vivia. Apocalipse capítulo 13, versos 11 a 14. Os cornos semelhantes aos do cordeiro e a voz de dragão deste símbolo indicam contradição flagrante entre o que professa e pratica a nação assim representada. A fala da nação são os atos de suas autoridades legislativas e judiciárias. Por esses atos, desmentirá os princípios liberais e pacíficos que estabeleceu como fundamento de sua política. A predição de falar como o dragão e exercer todo o poder da primeira besta claramente anuncia o desenvolvimento do espírito de intolerância e perseguição que manifestaram as nações representadas pelo dragão e pela besta semelhante ao leopardo. E a declaração de que a besta de 2 cornos faz com que a terra e os que nela habitam adorem a primeira besta indica que a autoridade desta nação deve ser exercida impondo ela alguma observância que constituirá ato de homenagem ao papado. Semelhante atitude seria abertamente contrária aos princípios deste governo, ao espírito de suas instituições livres, às afirmações insofismáveis e solenes da Declaração da Independência e à Constituição. Os fundadores da nação procuraram sabiamente prevenir o emprego do poder secular por parte da Igreja, com seu inevitável resultado, intolerância e perseguição. A Magna Carta estipula que o Congresso não fará lei quanto a oficializar alguma religião ou proibir o seu livre exercício, e que nenhuma prova de natureza religiosa será jamais exigida como requisito para qualquer cargo de confiança pública nos Estados Unidos. Somente em flagrante violação destas garantias à liberdade da nação, poderá qualquer observância religiosa ser imposta pela autoridade civil. Mas a incoerência de tal procedimento não é maior do que o que se encontra representado no símbolo. É a besta de cornos semelhantes aos do cordeiro, professando-se pura, suave e inofensiva, que fala como dragão.
Now, when you're dealing with what happened 500 years ago, that split got into the hands of wicked spirits in heavenly places, because for 500 years. What were we called? Protesters. What is a protest? Strife. We haven't been known for the way we love one another. We've been known for our church fights. I mean, you got to know that. But that was the big one. And the longer it went, the more strength that devil gained. These are wicked spirits in the heavens, because it got into governments. I mean, hey, this thing is huge, just huge. And I'm sorry to say, most of the church don't know it's over. But they better find out. I'll tell you what. Oh, one of my favorite days in my life was with Pope Francis. What a man. He's one of my heroes. And this is what he's all about. This whole thing. That's one of the things that got me so on fire about it. And I am on.
In this kind of romanticized American image, like he was this great guy with American values. He was this rebel out to stick it to the man, right? And then he went out and had this entrepreneurial spirit and left the church to start his own thing. Except that's not what actually happened. Luther never wanted to start his own church. He wanted to reform and renew the church that he was a part of. He wanted to change things from within. But they couldn't work things out, and so he was excommunicated, kicked out of the church, and forced to start his own thing along with the other reformers. And Luther had his faults too. Luther was a little bit more than a little bit rough around the edges. If you know anything about Luther, he had quite a temper on him. And after he was excommunicated, he got in the habit of saying things like the Pope is the Antichrist again and again. You can see that throughout his writings. You can actually also see that he had quite a foul mouth. Luther had all these creative and vulgar insults he would use against his opponents in the Catholic Church. Things you wouldn't want read in church today. That's part of Luther. He was pretty rough around the edges. And don't get me wrong, God was working through him. I have no doubt about that. There were changes he brought about that needed to happen in the church. And so many people got that message of grace and love that weren't receiving it before. And it was the Roman Catholic Church that kicked Luther out. However, he has some of the blame for making things worse. And in fact, because of some of his attitudes and some of the things that he wrote and said in his lifetime throughout the centuries, that has affected the relationship between the Catholic Church and Protestant churches still today because of some of the things that he said and the attitudes that he had. So in light of this, why do we bother celebrating and remembering?
Last Thursday evening, we were studying actually and showing how the 14th Amendment in the U.S. Constitution is now under attack. And not only the 14th Amendment, but also the First Amendment. And we see this under this so-called combating the migrant Caravan. Now, I want to turn your attention to, as you can see on the screen, this was last week's lesson, last week, Thursday. I won't go into this right now. It's right there on our page on YouTube. You could take a look at that. But notice, there's so much we have to cover this evening, but I really want to focus on a statement coming from Testimonies for the Church, Volume 5, page 451. And I'm going to skim through this quote. Let's take a look. It says this: by the decree enforcing the institution of the papacy in violation of the law of God, our nation will disconnect herself fully from righteousness. How may we know that this is near? This decree, the next sentence says, when Protestantism shall stretch her hand across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power. And friends, we are seeing this happening right before our very eyes. The red words, it says, what is the next step? Once Protestants unite with popery, what's the next step? Our country shall repudiate every principle of its constitution as a Protestant and a Republican government. And we're seeing this happening right before our very eyes. A kindred quotation to this one is in Great Controversy, page 588. And please go read that. Note that on your notebook, and please take a look at that statement in the Great Controversies. And now we're seeing the migrant crisis. And now we are seeing that our president is now making statements to the fact of nullifying, making sterile, nullifying, making void the principles laid out in the 14th Amendment. Now, I won't go into that. We covered that this past Thursday. What I want to say is this. They are making it seem as if they're only trying to repeal or amend the first sentence in the 14th Amendment. But we know there are two sentences, and both stand together and or fall together. And we know that Satan always works through a medium. You go back to the book of Genesis. The devil worked through the medium of the serpent. Could the migrant caravan, the immigration crisis, be a medium, a smoke screen by which Satan will work through his human agents to repudiate every principle of our Constitution? In other words, stymieing our civil as well as religious freedom? Could it be, my friends? And secondly, we have to ask ourselves the question, why was the 14th Amendment written? We saw just last week, Thursday, that the 14th Amendment was put in place for many reasons. One, it was to put the shackles on the states in America. Why? Because the states had enforced Sunday blue laws to prosecute those who refused to honor Sunday but held on to the true Sabbath. And when this happened, the First Amendment was already there, which says Congress shall make no law to restrict religious liberty or to unite church and state. Even though the first one was there, there was no prohibition for the actual states. As a result, the 14th Amendment was put in place. Look at the screen. There we have it. Here we see, my friends, the First Amendment. That's Congress. Now, the 14th Amendment. No state shall make or enforce any law. That means, could it be, the migrant crisis is a smokescreen to give power back to the state, to enforce not just Sunday blue laws now, but the prophetic national Sunday law, to persecute God's commandments, keeping people? October 31st, Washington Post headline says, President Trump thinks he can rewrite the Constitution. Guess what comes next? Now think about this, my friends. It's interesting that this should be a current event to awaken Bible belief in Christians, to awaken Seventh-day Adventists, because we have been looking forward to this time when the principles in our Constitution would be threatened. Have you ever read the chapter in the Great Controversy entitled Liberty of Conscience? What's the next sentence? Next word, liberty of conscience threatened. It's going on right now. Back to the screen. Trump, on ending birthright citizenship, says, I may very well do it by executive order. Now, I don't get involved in partisan politics. I'm giving you Bible prophecy and where these things are tending, the trajectory of these movements. Next, it says, watch carefully. Headline, President Trump's unconstitutional dreams. Skip on down, it says, Mr. Trump's order, if issued, this is the executive order, if issued, will not only violate both the Constitution and deeply rooted American ideals, but also set a what? A dangerous precedent. If the president can unilaterally abrogate a provision of the Constitution by executive order, what's the next question? Which one will be next? This should awaken Seventh-day Adventists, my friends. But the sad reality is the majority of God's people are sleeping. Get back here. And President Trump says in a later tweet, this case will be settled by the United States what? Supreme Court. Question for you. Now, what's happening to the U.S. Supreme Court? Is it now being stacked in favor of the president and the evangelicals? Now, stay tuned for this weekend on into next week, leading up to November 6th, as we do a week of emphasis regarding the prophetic implications of the midterm elections, November 6th. Stay tuned. We begin Sabbath evening. Get back to the screen. And yes,